All right, that's it from the U.S. Grand Prix. It's done and dusted. Here are my 3 takeaways from this one. This Drivers' Championship has shades of 2021 written all over the thing. I mean, instead of it being Max Verstappen versus Lewis Hamilton, it's Max Verstappen versus Lando Norris. 2 bones of contention at the end of this one. One of them being from Lando Norris. He told me that he was pretty frustrated with how Max Verstappen was racing him in this event here, and how Max defended to try and hang on to his P3 when it got really heated. My thing is that I think Lando Norris should have set the precedent with how the two of them race each other all the way back in Austria, when the two of them raced each other hard there, and Lando didn't really get his elbows out when he should have. He should have set the tone, been aggressive, and said, look, if you're going to race me hard, this is what's going to happen. Heading up into turn 1 here at the start of the race, I mean, Lando just gets muscled right out and loses the lead because Max muscles him around. I think if you're Norris, you have to shut the door, be aggressive, and just see what happens. I understand it's a championship battle, you don't want to lose points and crash out, etc., but there has to be a point where you set the precedent of how you want to be raced. And I think if he doesn't do it soon, it's going to be tough for him to win this one, I think, because the two of them are always going to be out on track battling for position from this point to the end of the season. The other part of this is Andrea Stella. He was frustrated with the FIA and how they issued the penalty in race to Lando Norris, considering that they're in this Drivers' Championship battle and things are so close. He felt that the drivers should have been brought in and should have gone to the stewards and had a conversation and discussed it, so then the stewards could have made a proper decision on who gets a penalty and who doesn't. So he was pretty frustrated about that one. The other part of this is Stella telling us that this track here at COTA is not one of their strongest. And he felt that as they move along in this championship, as they go to Mexico and Brazil, he feels that those are going to be tracks where they should excel. Let's talk about Ferrari. I mean, the resurgence of the Scuderia has been fantastic. You go back to the start of the season, started off really well, then they had a huge dip in performance. None of us really thought that they were going to come back, and now look at them swinging up at the front of the field. I mean, pretty impressive. Charles Leclerc told me that the goal now, you ready for this one? The goal now is to win the Constructors' Championship. If we go back to July, there is no way we're having this conversation, but here we are, as he really believes that Ferrari can win it. And no updates for the Scuderia this weekend either, so take that into consideration, where you had other teams like Red Bull and McLaren bring upgrades to their cars. So Ferrari really getting a lot out of an older package and really understanding it. And I also felt that the race pace, also very impressive. Carlos Sainz telling me that the fact that Ferrari could pit him first out of the front runners and still extend the hard tire, that's something he really struggled with last season. But now in this season, I mean, he's not struggling with it at all in this championship and where we're at within the season. And so that only shows you the projection for this team, as not only do they move through the season, but what happens in 2025 when Lewis Hamilton arrives. I mean, this is a team that is trending upwards. Not only are they going to be competitive for the remainder of the season, but just wait till next season if they continue on this trajectory. A team that's not trending upwards at the moment is trending downwards is Mercedes. It was a disastrous weekend for them. They don't understand how they can go from being one of the stronger teams mid-season to then going back to being the underdogs. And for Toto Wolff, as he explained to me, it just didn't make sense to him. They brought a decent-sized upgrade for this weekend, and the question was if there was a fundamental issue with the upgrade, and Toto denied it. He said that there wasn't. They're gonna keep running this upgrade because they still believe in it. The biggest issue he felt is how the aerodynamics and the mechanical package of the car, how those two things actually work together. So they're going to continue with this upgrade. George Russell, since he crashed on Saturday, and he had to run an upgraded car from July. So he was using parts that were from July on his car for Sunday's race here at COTA. The question is that who's going to run the new updates when they get to Mexico, because they don't have enough parts of the new update to give to both drivers. So that will be the storyline for them heading into Mexico. I think they really need to figure this thing out, because when you take a look at where Mercedes is on a Friday, very competitive, and then you see what happens to them on a Saturday, I mean, it's just a huge swing in performance. So that does it. My 3 takeaways from the U.S. Grand Prix. I'll be back in Mexico for the Mexico Grand Prix to give you some more from there.